You know, I forget just how much damage Bloody Slash does. Oh, this is fun. There we go. Okay. Hey gamers, welcome back to my YouTube Let's Play of Elden Ring. Today we're going to do Caria Manor, and that's probably going to be it because I don't know what else I would do for the moment. So I'm just going to try and get through this as quickly as possible because there are some fun enemies in here. And by fun, I mean not fun at all. Which means we're just going to run past most of them, and as a result, ignore them. There are some items I am going to pick up, though, because they're very useful. So if you hear the booming, that's the enemies popping up out of the ground because they're hiding in the ground. And we have this friend. Oh, also, ground projectiles. That's also fun. See, they have these little stakes in the ground, and when you walk over them... Yep. And, of course... So to be clear, these aren't the annoying enemies of this area. We're going to encounter the annoying enemies, but then we're going to run past them because I don't want to deal with them, because they're not fun. And unfortunately, since we're inside an area, that means I can't use Torrent. Oh. So yeah, giant hands. So. So if you look at my health, you'll notice that I'm almost dead. And so that should answer your question as to why we're going to run through this area and ignore most of the enemies. Also, look, they're hiding in the ground. It ain't that fun. And if you walk over them, they grab you. Fortunately, they're only in this lower section, so once we're through here, we can not have to deal with them for the remainder of this area. Excuse me. And like that, we're safe. No longer have to deal with them. Now there's a very powerful weapon here that we can get, but I don't use it a lot personally, so we're just going to ignore it. If I could be convinced to come back and get it, depending on what comments have to say, but for now we're just going to run through the area and ignore it, because I don't want to deal with that. Because we already got enough to deal with you know, the giant hands and the ghost people. Oh, and they don't bleed. That's fun. Whatever. I remember there's an item over there, but I don't think it's something I'm interested in, so I'm just going to ignore it. And if it is something I'm interested in, I can always come back later. Because the name of the game in Dark Souls and Elden Ring and all that jazz is to ignore everything until it becomes a problem. And as of yet, that has held true. And like that, we're already in the safe zone because we reached the elevator. I'm just going to preemptively get ready for the boss of this area, because they don't really take status damage. Of course, come out here, we got wolves and it got a golden tree. Fortunately, I can sneak past the wolves. upgrade the flask when I come back here. We're just gonna sneak past our wolfy friend because I don't want to deal with him. Because these wolves are tough, they have hyper armor, and that's not fun to deal with. And you know, as I get closer and closer to the end of this area, I'm wondering what else I'm gonna have to do for this episode, because as things are looking, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make Caria Manor an entire episode by itself. Yeah, so you can probably see why I didn't want to deal with these wolves. The dogs in Dark Souls in general are obnoxious to deal with, but wolves are doubly so, because they're basically dogs with hyper armor. And as you can see, we got a bunch of enemies in there to deal with. And we're just gonna casually run past them all, because that's what I do best. Hello, friend. Goodbye, friend. Oh, he noticed me somehow. Alright, well. These were the annoying enemies I mentioned earlier. Their crossbows deal a lot of damage. And also their moveset is annoying. They're not fun to fight. Now I'm gonna do what's called a pro gamer move. So as long as I don't enter that pool of water, the boss won't spawn. So I'll just circle around until the enemies lose aggro. So let's fight the boss. So, for reference, this is basically the tree sentinel that I fought earlier, except they also have magic now. Now, as long as I can keep aggro off of my guy, he'll revive. This is why skeletal militiamen are cool, because they actually have to be hit a couple times before they stay down. So as long as I can pull aggro long enough for them to revive. Lock on, please. And there we go. Another one bites the dust. I should be able to level up now. So let's get that endurance up there so I can equip the armor. And then we're going to start pumping faith so I can equip that new spell I got. Yay, okay. How much do I need to level up? About 3,000, okay. So we're gonna go through here and start another quest line. There's a big old dragon. And unfortunately fighting him doesn't really have any merit because he'll despawn immediately once he gets to half health. So I guess we're just gonna have to deal with him for the moment. That had much further range than I initially anticipated. He should despawn soon, hopefully. You know, like that. Not quite like that. Alright, there we go. Now we can come up here past the wolves and start another quest line. Which will give us access to another memory stone. How about that? Don't worry, we'll get to fight that dragon again later, and, you know, he won't be able to run away that time. Sorry, just wanted to check something real quick. Yep, can't use that. Need 5 more levels in faith. Alright.
Oh, I believe I said my name was it pleaseth me, but tarnished. I have no reason intrigue. Wilt thou end? I am the will that I might well. I soured, but I require. So this starts a quest line which most people would argue is one of the best quest lines in the game, because in addition to giving you access to a bunch of cool NPCs, it also gives you access to 3 separate areas. All of which has some pretty neat stuff. So, the annoying part of this quest line is that at the very beginning, you gotta go talk and say hi to everyone. You can't do anything else until it's done with that.
Oh, again, Caria, I'm told that you I will keep.
So, there's that. Make sure his dialogue is exhausted.
Forgive, let us give together. Let us together.
Right. The next guy. Hey, look, it's Blythe.
Blythe, glad to have you. Well, I'm still in the Eternal. I'm planning to go see if I can't find.
I'm gonna see him again soon. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to see if I can. Don't keep me waiting.
And then this dude. Nobody likes this dude.
I see. Yes, I don't know what. But since I asked, I someone pay me should you if it were up to but who.
Okay. Now we can go back and talk to Ranni, and then we can leave. So, long and short of it is, we introduced ourselves to all those NPCs, and then we're gonna go back to talk to Ranni, and she's gonna go tell us to meet up with Blythe, who is like the best boy. And then after we meet up with Blythe, we have to go talk to another guy. Then come back, and in the process of all of that, we're gonna fight a couple bosses.
Still, I look.
All right, and now,
It will be. I have high look.
so our next quest is to go meet up with Blythe, who's all the way down here in Limgrave. I kind of skipped over the area he was in before because I knew I was going to come back to it later. And it's later now. So let's go. Welcome to Bear Land. Thankfully, we don't have to fight any of these bears. Come across this thing, then we go inside, and we're gonna go on a fun elevator ride. And I am going to just not say anything, because this is a really cool part of the quest line because of how cool the ride is. And now you're like, oh, it's just an elevator ride, it can't be that cool. Wrong, good sir. And you'll see why in a moment. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, right? You got an entire section of the map that's underground, and the cool part is that once you get to a certain point, you can ride Torrent. And if we look at our map, you'll notice it's blanked out, and that's because the underground map is a separate map from the overworld map. You're just gonna ride through this area real quick. Because there's a lot of these guys, and they're all kind of slow, so we can ignore them for the most part. As long as we keep our respectful distance. They do not attack fast enough for it to be an issue, so long as I keep my distance. The bubble blower guy might be an issue, though. So we're just gonna skedaddle past him. Then we're gonna come over here so we can get this. Because you see these glowing plants, the ones with the white glowing, not the green glowing, are useful for upgrading your spirit ashes, which are those little boys we summon in the middle of boss fights and such. And those guys, in case you couldn't tell, are very useful, so we want to upgrade them as much as possible. Okay. So, in this next area that we're coming up to, we have a couple objectives. We're going to meet with and talk with Blythe, and then there's two bosses that I'm going to fight. And since Caria Manor was kind of over and done with pretty quickly, I think the second boss is going to be where this episode's going to end. So the gimmick of this area is that there are these 8 pedestals scattered throughout that you have to light. And then once you light them all, you can fight the area boss. As you can see, I lit this one up, and that pedestal back there lit up. So we have to find the other 7 and do the same thing. Now, obviously, it's not going to be as easy as this one that we just found, because there are enemies about. Oh, we just got the map, so I'll go ahead and show it to you. And this is just one section of the underground map, by the way. There are other sections that we haven't even gotten to yet, that we haven't even gained the ability to access yet, which is part of the reason we're doing this quest line, is because over the course of the quest line, you unlock the ability to access the other areas. But for now, we're just concerned with this one. As you can see, there are ghost men about. And thankfully, this animation has iframes, so we can basically ignore them. You know, assuming I don't die. That's 2 down, 6 to go. Of course, the ghost guys are obnoxious for other reasons, which, you know, you'll probably see soon. We also have sentient lightning, which is fun. Dog. Blythe is over here. So you say hi and talk to him. And then Ranni's questline is advanced.
Ah, apologies, mate. I can see bloody Knockron. I've tried all the gateways. Perhaps it's... I recall that spiteful. Let's give him a squeak.
So, the basic gist of it is that Blythe was told by Ranni to go and figure out how to get up to that area that we're looking at up there. But he can't figure it out. But the other guy with the big hat is acting all high and mighty because he knows how to get up there. Or he knows someone who knows. So, basically, you come here, and Blythe says, I can't figure it out. Let's go get the other guy that's supposed to be helping us to help us. And that's the quest line for this part. So, once we're done with this area, which will be next episode, by the time we're finished, we're going to go talk to Celavus, who's the guy with the big hat. And arguably nobody's favorite NPC, for reasons that I'll explain later. And then we're gonna fight Radon. Well, no, we're not gonna fight Radon, because there's technically one more area I can get to before I have to fight a Shard Bearer. Because the whole point of this challenge run that I'm doing is that I'm trying to get as far and to as many areas as possible before I need a Great Rune. So there's really only one more area I can access without at least one Great Rune. So we're gonna at least enter that area next, and then we'll go from there. Of course, the cool thing is that area is where the primary weapon for this build is located. So, in case you're a bit confused, the order of operations for what we're doing here is we're gonna fight the bosses, and then we're gonna go talk to Celavus, which will be next episode. So, to fight the boss, first we gotta unlock it, which means we gotta light these torches while skillfully evading enemies. So, I believe that's half of them at this point, so we need 4 more. Thankfully, RNG has been on our side, and these enemies haven't been too annoying. Let's see if I can get to this before he shocks me. Yep. Yeah. So those lightning balls shoot 5 times and then they despawn. So thankfully, the animation for lighting the torch lasts just long enough for that to not be an issue. close to done. Not many left. Yes, I believe there are 2 or 3 of those pedestals left. And then we can fight the first boss of this area. And then we gotta do some finagling to get to the second. This also leads us to another area, or that we've technically been to before, just not the specific area there, which I'll unlock one of the PvP arenas, which are something that was not part of the initial game, and I'm glad that they're finally added, because normal PvP kind of sucks in this game. Alright, so the text box just showed up like very briefly and basically just saying that you activated the other boss. You activated one of the bosses, so you can go fight it now. We're just gonna really quick grab this golden seed, and then there's a site of grace that we can grab. And then we can go back and fight the first boss, and then we can go and fight the second boss, and then that'll be it for this episode. So let's go grab that site of grace. Alright, so these guys are annoying, because they have an ability where they charge up an arrow like that, and they can basically snipe you from anywhere on the map. It's really obnoxious, because you'll just be like going about minding your own business, and then suddenly arrow in your head. Just gonna rest real quick to despawn the enemy. And we'll teleport back here. And we'll go fight the boss, the first boss. So as you can see, all those torches are lit up, which means the first boss of the area is active. So let's go say hi. Oh, so this is something I actually don't know, and I'm probably going to sound stupid to people who are actually really good and know a lot about this game. I don't know if this boss bleeds, so let's find out. And technically that's not really important, since Flame of Frenzy has been my primary source of damage, but you know, doesn't hurt to check. And I'm using Lutel because it's been a while and she's cool. She teleports, she does decent damage. And she has a lot of health, so her survivability is pretty great when you combine 2 of those things. So, I'm sure from fighting this boss probably seems pretty easy, and the primary reason for that is that you technically fight him a second time, and the second fight is a lot cooler because he's a lot more powered up. Oh, she also has a shield, which greatly increases her survivability as well. Like, here's the thing. You want to talk about slept on spirit ashes in this game. I think Lutel's definitely up there. Because everybody uses the Mimic Tier, which we'll get later, or Black Knife Tish, which, you know, they're both really good and they're both really strong. But Lutel you can get pretty early on. And as you can see, she's doing pretty good work. But I want to keep her alive, so I need to catch up with her and heal her. Ow. Alright, healing. I don't have a heal spell that does a whole lot. So the cool thing about this particular spell, and part of the reason it does so much damage, is that if you are fighting a big boss and you aim it properly, it can actually hit them twice. Once on the way up with the projectile and once on the way down. Ow. So the trick is to get under them. And as you can see, it does a lot of damage. And then Astral Follower Ashes. That's another good, Ash summon. Because they have both ranged and non-ranged options, so they're useful at a number of areas. So I'm gonna teleport back to this, heal myself up, level up and all that. And then we're gonna go fight the second boss, which will be much harder. Alright, and I need 4 more faith, and then I can start actually investing in health and not dying. And the reason I keep saying I'm going to invest in health and I keep not doing it is because the later areas in this game require you to have a lot of health. And the general rule of thumb when you're playing a Souls game is you want to give yourself enough stats to wield the weapons and spells that you want. And then you want to invest in whatever the health stat is. It's typically vigor. Until you have enough. And what constitutes as enough depends on what build you're running. But most people will agree that you need about 40 or 50, depending on the game, before you have what is considered enough HP to survive most encounters late game. And in case you didn't tell, I have 24, which isn't a whole lot, especially since I am going into areas of the game that I should not be going into at this point in time. So, once I get my primary source of DPS out of the way, I am going to finally start leveling health so that I don't die as much. And as you can see, there's the second boss that we're going to fight, and we can already summon, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And let's go fight Dragonkin. And as you can see, I might have woefully underprepared for this fight, because that was a lot of damage. And I'm not sure if it was because he was still in his waking up animation, but Flame of Frenzy isn't doing a whole lot. And I think that's because he's Dragonkin, so he's resistant to fire. Ow. Oh, I missed it. Alright. Oh! Okay. Alright. Primary source of damage located. Ow. Man, it's a good thing I have low enough health and high enough flasks that they're basically a full heal, because otherwise I would be in trouble. Alright. I keep forgetting I can ride Torrent for this fight. Ow. Oh. There's a follow-up to that. Well, fortunately, I don't have to jog all the way back here, because there's a Stake of America nearby. So, let's do that again, but not waste FP on Flame of Frenzy. Oh, that is so much damage. Why wasn't I doing this earlier? Drink. Because in case you guys haven't been paying attention, Bloody Slash does a lot of damage, but it also costs health in addition to FP. So if I'm not careful, I could end up accidentally killing myself. And since I don't have a lot of HP, that's not a good thing. Thing. I wasn't close enough. Okay. One more Bloody Slash. There we go. I don't think he bled that entire fight, which makes sense since I think he's technically undead, and those guys tend to not bleed. But sometimes I forget just how much Bloody Slash does as, like, actual damage. With that, most of what we need to do in this area has been accomplished. So let's go ahead and... Actually, I'm going to level up before I forget. I think I can level up twice with the amount of runes I got from that. It's going to be close, but I can't do it twice. Alright. Oh, that's upsettingly close. But not with this. Alright, 2 more levels in Faith, and I can finally use the best long-range incantation in the game. I mean, in terms of, like, fire rate and damage. There are ones that are technically more powerful, but they're a lot more difficult to use because they take longer to cast. But that's neither here or there for now. We're going to go say hi to our friend, and we're going to pick up a memory stone. And it'll be the second to last one for this character.
Did you not realize? Perhaps. I'd like you to find even you. Good. Now I shall hand over. Fine. I expect. I've no time. The only thing are we, and I have enough. Well, the task was laid out to only. Well, now's as good as. There's a glintstone. She owes me. I ask. I'll write you a letter of. I've no time. The only thing are we, and I have enough.
Alright. So let's go grab that memory stone, and then we're going to go talk to Selin, who we've already met in previous episodes. And then I think that'll be it for now. Because I feel like that'll be a good place to end this episode. I'm going to check real quick. I think I have almost all of them, but... yep, one more. So we're going to go ahead and go talk to Selin. And that'll set us up for the next segment.
Young apprentice, you are a tadpole, so to book now. Well, Salavis is not but fine. The stars, but long ago. Now here's the if, Jen, and so too.
So basically, long story short, is she just told us that if we want to continue Ranni's questline, we need to defeat Radahn, and to defeat Radahn, we have to go to Caelid, which is the fun place. But, like I said, we're not going to beat a shard bearer until we absolutely have to. So, next episode, we are going to Caelid, but we're not going there to fight Radahn. So for now, I'll just go here. Alright, so that's another episode of my Elden Ring playthrough. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment below if you have something to say. And next time, we're going to go back to Caelid. Thanks for watching. Bye. That is so much damage. Why wasn't I doing this earlier?